Okay, for lesson 5, we're going to be solving literal equations. Most of them will be linear. Some, however, and I'll point out when we get to there, are not linear equations. Nevertheless, we're going to use the same strategies as we used before. Clear the fractions, simplify the algebraic expression on each side, collect terms, get a coefficient of 1 in front of the variable, and then check to see if we're right. Okay, the first 3 are really neat because what ends up happening is you just get numbers and you're just plugging in and solving. So for the first one, d is equal to RT, so distance is equal to average rate times time. So I'm going to substitute 261 in for d. I'm going to substitute 3 in for r, and then I'm going to solve for t. So I'm just going to divide both sides by 3. So t will be equal to 87. Let's check that out. 87 times 3. Yep, that does check, so we're all set. Now let's do b. If f is equal to 68, we need to find c. This is actually the conversion from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, well, we can clear the fraction first. That is fine, so we can multiply everything by 5, because that might be helpful. So 32 times 5 is 160. The 5's will cancel here, and I get 9c. And then 68 times 5 is 340. So now I'm going to subtract 160 from both sides. So I will get 180 is equal to 9c. I'm going to divide by 9. So c is equal to 20 degrees Celsius. And now we can check our work. If we do 180 divided by 5, so if we do 180 divided by 5 and add 32, we can check to make sure it's equal to 68. So 180 divided by 5, in case we don't know, we just do it, is 36, and 36 and 32 is 68. Check. We always want to make sure we're right. Then the next thing we're going to do is I is equal to PRT. In and of itself, this equation is not linear, but once you pop in the numbers, it becomes linear. So it's 1500 is equal to P, R is 2, T is 5. So we want to solve for P, so we get 1500 is equal to 10P. I'm going to divide both sides by 10. So P is equal to 150. Yay! So there you have it. So 150 times 10 is 1500. Let's move on to the next. Now we're moving on to the actual literal equations piece of it. So what we're going to do, we're solving for one variable in terms of another. So for example, if I'm solving this for y, it can have 2 different solutions and their equivalent answers. Okay, so now let's solve this, and we're going to solve it for t. So I is equal to p RT. I'm going to solve for t. I have to get rid of the p and the r. These are all connected by multiplication, so to get rid of the p and the r, I'm going to divide by it. Okay, and then that's my answer. And a lot of people are like, I can't even believe that's your answer. Why would it be that? Well, now if I know values for r R, P, and I can immediately get T without going through any of the division in the original problem. Now let's take a look at B here. We want to be able to clear the fractions first, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 here. So I'm going to write the original problem down so we have a little bit of extra room. We want to solve for h, so we're circling the h because I want to know what I'm solving for, and I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Well, then this will become 2a on the left-hand side, and look at how cute these little 2's cancel, and we get hb. Now we're going to divide both sides by b because I want to get rid of it, and these are connected by multiplication, so I'm going to divide by b. So we get 2a is equal to over b is equal to h. I almost misspoke on that one. There it is. And again, right now, as it stands, it's not really technically a linear equation, but it is a literal equation. So if I know the area of that triangle and the base of the triangle, I can solve for the height. In part A, if I know the interest, the principal, and the rate, I can figure out how long it's going to take me to save that. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, now we're going to do part C. Let's take a look at it. It gets a little intense, but not huge. Now, I know before we distribute, but if we do that, then I'm going to have to undistribute, and we won't want to do that. So first I want to get the 1 over to the other side and just subtract 1. Now, y and 1 cannot be combined, so it's y minus 1 is equal to a minus b x. I'm going to divide both sides by a minus b because that whole piece is connected to the x by multiplication. So I want to get rid of that whole piece, so I have to divide by it on both sides. Now I'm not going to be lazy. I'm going to write over here what x is equal to. Y minus 1 over a minus b. And I'm done. Okay, I never want to leave it like this in this form and do all this cancel and then assume that your instructor can read what you're trying to say. You want to make it as clear as possible. Now let's take a look at this next one. We're going to be solving for y here. And what I want to do is get y by itself. And there are a couple of different representations in this problem, the way to express the solution. I'm going to show you the way that we will be doing later on so that it will be right kind of ingrained in you. So I'm going to add x to both sides, and I'm going to tuck that little x in before the 15. Tuck it in. So x plus 15. And now we're going to be dividing by 2, but instead I need to divide by 2 by the entire side over here, but I want to do it individually because when you're dividing by the whole thing, you're really going to be dividing here and here. So y is going to equal x over 2 plus 15 over 2. Or you could say it as y is equal to 1/2 x plus 15 over 2. Okay. The next one is, we dealt with this in one of the previous slides, but we added numbers in and then we solved for c. But now we're just going to leave c and f right in there, and now we're going to be going great here. I'm going to clear the fraction by multiplying everything through by 5. So we get 5f is equal to 9c plus 32 times 5 is 160. Then we're going to subtract 160 from both sides because we want to get c by itself. So it'll be 5f minus 160 is equal to 9c, and then we're just going to divide everything through by 9 individually like we did before. So C is equal to 5F over 9 minus 160 over 9. And we're done with that piece. And this is the end of literal equations. Now you can do the worksheet in the booklet and then My Math Lab. Good luck, and if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask your instructor. Good luck.